Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Sex? I don't know. I'm not getting any. The end. No, okay. Just playing. But I just wanted to talk about some of the rules with dating and being intimate with your partner while you're actually under the use of medicinal drugs. So there is a such thing as abstinence. And when it comes to men and women, there are different rules. So I just wanted to talk to some of those listeners out there that are going through or that know somebody that's going through about the importance of just being safe and being careful and mindful. So let's get down to it. Okay, so men, seems like they always have it easy, right? Well, when it comes to men and being diagnosed with cancer, there are drugs out there in the multiple myeloma world, such as Revlimid, Kyprolis, thalidomide, things like that. Well, I have a nurse here, so she knows what she's talking about, and she's my cousin. So I want you guys to just thank her for joining us today. But I just felt like this was something that I really needed to talk about because a lot of people don't know, and it's actually a common question that gets asked when most people are formally or newly diagnosed. So when it comes to men being intimate with women, let's say the man has cancer. Well, because the drugs are in our system, there is not many restrictions when it comes to a man being diagnosed. Now, his partner, however, is at risk. So because the drugs are in the man's system, he can actually pass those drugs on via intercourse to his partner if they're not using protection. And that, however, will now cause his partner to potentially become at risk of not being able to have children in the future. So there is a such thing as making sure that if the male has cancer and is under the use of medicinal drugs, he will need to make sure that he's protecting himself to not pass on those particular particles to his partner and causing her not to be able to get pregnant. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below. I'm basing this off of experience. I'm not a nurse, nor am I a doctor. And my cousin is not diagnosed. I am diagnosed with multiple myeloma. And this is just from personal experience and things that doctors have told me, and also things that have been discussed in the multiple myeloma Facebook group. If you have not joined the group, it's multiple myeloma for people under age 50. Please join if you have any extra questions. It's a free group. We're all there to help everyone out. And we just want you to be more informed and to become safe for the most part. Now, when it comes to women under the use of drugs, it's similar. Because the drugs are already going into our system, we're already at high risk of not potentially being able to become impregnated in the future. Some of us go through early menopause. Some of us have complications in birth. Some of us are not able to get pregnant. It just depends on how long you're under the treatment. It also depends on what type of treatment you're on. Everyone does not use those same drugs that I just mentioned. There's drugs constantly being approved by the FDA monthly, quarterly. And so, like I said, there are drugs coming out on the market quarterly. And so you may not be using those particular drugs. However, talk to your doctor if you have any other questions that are of concern to you and your body or your partner's body, and if they're at risk of anything in particular. However, from my personal experience and questions that have been asked of doctors in my presence and things that doctors have told me, there is an importance of making sure you either abstain from having sex or you consistently protect yourself, the male and the female, both of you are protecting yourselves on each end during intercourse, so that there is not a risk of being able to impregnate somebody that is actually undergoing cancer treatment. Because what that does is that could potentially stop the treatment, and now the person is at risk of the cancer growing, or they may be asked, would they like to terminate the pregnancy? So that is a huge risk as well. So for women, because the drugs are already going into our system, we are at risk. The doctors will make you aware of that. Everyone does not go through menopause, and everyone does not have complications. Everybody is different based on their body, their complications, and the medicine that you're taking. However, there are still precautions that are needed to be taken during intercourse. So make sure you talk to your doctor. Make sure you ask whatever potential questions you may have. And if not, we do have a community out there that is well versed in knowledge, basically, of what we were told by doctors. So for women, there's no real risk, I would say, in having intercourse with a male, because your fluids basically stay in your body and you're not passing it on to the man. However, the man, because the fluids are in his body, he could potentially pass it on to his female partner, which in turn could cause issues if in the future she would like to become pregnant. So if you have any questions, please make sure you put them down below. I'm available. Facebook community is available, and I'm pretty sure your doctor is available too. And I would just like to say thank you for joining us today. Let's continue to talk about sex.